What's up, kiddos? It's Wednesday Night Live. Sorry, I ran away from the. If you were just getting onto the, sorry, I ran away from the screen real quick. The camera. I had to adjust the ISO on the camera, go up to 640 so you guys could see me. So, thanks for being here. It's Wednesday Night Live. I hope you guys can see and hear me all right. It's been a really eventful week for me. I'm going to get into the questions pretty quick, but it's been a pretty eventful week for me. I am shooting just a million different cameras right now, shooting a bunch of different Sonys, a bunch of different Fujis. What's up, Elvis? What's up, everybody? So I'm shooting a lot of different cameras right now. I'm having an absolutely fantastic time. One of the things that's always driven me in photography has been my very curious nature. And so that curiosity is leading me into looking at a bunch of different things, from medium format to Fuji mirrorless to the new offerings from Sony, whether it's the A7C, the FX3, the A7S3. And I'm looking at the crop sensor Fujis. I'm looking at the medium format Fujis. I've already played around with the Nikon and Canon mirrorless systems. So Fuji is logically the next step for me to really take a look at. And I got to say that the shots out of the camera are just really incredible. And I think it's just a beautiful time for us as photographers because we have so many options that are relatively inexpensive, when you really look at it. It's also a very interesting time because right now, if you guys are trying to buy new gear like the Sony A1 or the Fuji GFX 50R, that's not new, but the X-T4, any of these cameras, a lot of them are hard to get right now. And that's because of beautiful COVID. It's because of communist California. If you guys don't know, they're blocking a lot of the shipments coming into the ports in California, which is causing huge distribution problems for camera companies. So if you're ordering gear and it's not coming, it's most likely because of that. And so they've actually started routing some ships from California over to the East Coast to try to rectify that issue. But Fuji's having distribution issues. Sony's having distribution issues. And then there's other companies like Olympus, Panasonic, that are having issues. They can't sell gear enough, and that's why they're struggling. So it's a very interesting time as a photographer for all of us to try to find the right gear that works for us, right? But guys, ever since my Nikon days, I've been telling you guys, find the right gear that works for you. I haven't personally bought a new Sony camera in many years, and the reason for that is I haven't really had one that's excited me. I am just letting you guys know, and I know I've said this in previous broadcasts, but I'm just letting you know that, I'm really the next venture for me is medium format. And I really believe the medium format is the way to go for me personally, because it really fits it really fits what I want to do with my work. It fits the painting, like it fits that look that I really strive to achieve with my photography. So the question is, what is medium format? That's a great question. So you hear medium format, you hear large format. This is the most easy way to explain medium format, and it's actually pretty simple. There's it's just about sensor size, and it's about space size, and it's about physics. So the smaller the sensor, the harder it is for the sensor to collect light. The harder it is for the sensor to have a graduation of tones and tonality in the image, because it's just a smaller space. So when you look at a crop sensor, like a normal Sony a6000 or Fuji X-T4, X-T3, or any of the crop sensor bodies, when you look at those bodies, when you go from a crop sensor to a full frame sensor, you're more than doubling the size of the sensor, which is profound. That is why you get such great low light performance out of full frame cameras, comparatively speaking, to a crop sensor camera. And when you go from a full frame camera to a medium format, All you're doing is the same thing. You are increasing the size. Now, the pure photography aficionados will tell you that digital medium format is not a true medium format because it's not as large of an increase compared to 35 millimeter film compared to medium format film, which is true, but it's still a significant increase. It's almost twice as large. There's a few medium format digital cameras out there. There's Hasselblad, there's Pentax, there's their Fuji system, and I'm definitely going with the Fuji system because it's you gotta go with something that has a future. Pentax hasn't had a medium format camera released for years. Hasselblad has been on the down. They're like the Titanic. They're getting ready to go down. I'm not down out of business, but I mean they're not trying to sell anything or anything big. But when you look at it, I mean Fuji's really pretty phenomenal. So when you take a larger sensor, like you're going to, if I shoot the Fuji GFX 50R, that's the one that's the one that's really hitting my interest levels. There's something like 100S, the new 100S that's coming out that I'm interested in as well. But those are all the same sensor size. So it's taking a full frame sensor and going up by 1.7. It's increasing that sensor size. So that means when I shoot, or anyone shoots with a medium format, sorry about the focus there, when anyone shoots with a medium format sensor compared to a full frame sensor, they're going to get even more light in their images. And so if you look at like a Sony a7R4 that's 60 some odd megapixels, that has the resolution of a medium format camera to the most extent. It really does. It has the resolution. However, what it's lacking is light gathering sensitivity, and it's lacking that tonality, the ability to graduate from one tone to another, which means you're going to get a smoother transition and better tones in your images when you use a medium format camera compared to a full frame sensor camera, similar to how you get better low light sensitivity with a full frame camera compared to a crop sensor camera. So I know it kind of gets into the physics of everything, but if you're out there watching this, and if you're anything like me, the easiest way to wrap your head around it is truly just, well, okay, I understand going from a crop sensor to a full frame. Going from a full frame to a medium format is that next jump. And so that's what makes it such a fun proposition for somebody like me to really mess around with it. So it really is. No, I haven't. No, I'm not even going to mention that person's name. What a waste of space. So what you're saying is the A6000 is like the A7 III? No, that's actually not what I'm saying at all. Because the A6000 is a crop sensor, and the A6000 is a crop sensor camera. So when you compare it to an A7 III, it's going to be that same difference. You're going to get the same resolution because they're both 24 megapixels, but you're not going to get anything else. And in regards to why medium format, it's simple. I've looked at all the other systems, Hasselblad, Pentax. The honest truth is, when the honest truth is with the Fuji just has the most lenses available to it, and it's the most cost effective. Let's be real. It's the most cost effective camera to utilize if you're going medium format. You can get a Fuji GFX 50R or a 50S for less than $5,000, which I know that, people are like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. And I understand that's a lot of money, but I mean, the Sony A1 is $6,000 and that's full frame. So, so medium is not crop sensor. No, medium. So Kiri, here's how it goes. Medium format, crop sensor, full frame, medium format. Crop sensor, full frame, medium format. Medium format is larger. And it sounds confusing because it says medium. Medium format is the largest digital format that you can shoot with. You can't believe I'm saying Fuji. I don't know why you guys are surprised I say Fuji. I've never been anti-Fuji, anti-Canon, anti-Nikon, and I still love Sony. I have nothing against Sony. I have 3 new Sonys that I'm shooting right now. I have the FX3, I have the A7S3, and I have the A7C. And I just did some shoots inside of that old distillery in Kentucky with the A7C, the A7S3, and I haven't played the FX3 yet, but that's sitting there in my right on my couch, right over here. So that the A7, that FX3, I'm about to go down to down south, down to the border, because I live about, where do I live? I live about an hour from Mexico here in California. So I'm about to go down to the border and shoot some documentary footage and stuff, and I'm going to film it with that FX3, which I'm really excited to do. So don't buy a 50S. They have a weak tripod mount. Yeah, I'm not really. That's what I'm saying. The 50R seems like it's the best one for me. So, isn't Hasselblad still better than Fuji? Nope, it's not. Hasselblad hasn't been relevant for about 2 decades. Let's be real, and so, you know, unless you get into the larger, medium format or large format cameras. But I mean, all of them are that 645 size, which is a Pentax, Hasselblad. They're all that same sensor size. So if you guys are interested, do a little bit of research on your own. By the way, guys, give me a thumbs up on this if you don't mind. It seems to help the algorithm gods. But when you are curious about something like this, go on to B&H Photo or wherever, ABC Photo Store, whatever. Go on and type in medium format camera and look at the specs. Look at the specs of all of the varied, cameras that are in there, and you'll just teach yourself as you go. And so as I'm embarking on this new journey is really related to me having stuff that excites me, to be honest with you. So I want content that's exciting for me to shoot, because when I'm excited about shooting it, then I'm very anxious to share it with you. So I'd really, the A7C is a nice crop body with the full frame sensor. It is. The A7C is an actually really cool camera. The only thing I don't understand with Sony is they have an A7 III and an A7C, and they're pretty much the same price. I don't know. I don't understand some of the marketing folks over at Sony. I'll agree. I don't understand some of their decisions, because the A7C and the A7 III are pretty much the same price. So I don't know why you would buy an A7C and not an A7 III. I don't get it. I do like the fact that they crammed the new battery in the new big battery into the crop sensor body of the A7C. So that's really cool. And I did some really cool shoots inside of that old distillery with the A6400. I know if you guys have been watching my Instagram, if you've been watching my Facebook, yes, I've been posting mostly Fuji shots coming out of that distillery, but I shot a lot of Sony in there. So pretty much what I did is I was there for 3 days. The first day I did a scouting, and I went and looked. I just did a bunch of Urbex shots. The second day was all model shoots, and I shot men and women with the Fuji system. And then the following day, I shot men and women all day with the Sony system. So there's pluses and minuses to both. I mean, Fuji, I'll still stand by it. Fuji does not focus as well as Sony. Nothing focuses as well as a Sony. So I am not in any way hating on Sony. I'm not. I love all my Sony bodies. This is not a wholesale switch from Sony to Fuji, not in any way, shape, or form. This is just, if Sony had a medium format camera, I would most definitely look at it, but they don't. And so, just when people think about medium format, they think that is relative just to a megapixel and resolution, and it's not. It's not at all. So when you shoot with a medium format camera, like a Fuji GFX 50R, I'm able to get 50 megapixels out of that, but I'm able to get better low light sensitivity because it's a larger sensor, and that's why it makes for such great pictures. And that's another reason why, guys, if you look, everybody wants to go around and around, but here's the simple truth, and it's really easy to understand. The bigger the sensor with the smaller resolution, the better low light collection your camera is going to do. It's why the A7S III has the same sensor size as all the other Sony full frame cameras, but it's 12 megapixels. They keep it at 12 megapixels because when it's less megapixels, it gives more space on the sensor, which allows it to collect more light. So one of the main reasons why, I would love, it would be so much fun to shoot with a 100 megapixel camera, but I don't want to. 50 megapixels is a lot, and B, that 100 megapixels on a medium format sensor like the Fuji's, it's not going to perform as well from a low light standpoint as it will at 50 megapixels. That's why I would go with the 50 megapixels versus the 100. Seems like really clear cut stuff to me. So the good thing about medium format Fujifilm is they don't suffer the issues with Lightroom because they have the bare color filter array. Yeah, I'm very curious to see that. I know a lot of folks, they really bash Lightroom, and believe me, I have my big gripes about Lightroom, big time. But and Capture One, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I was born and raised in Lightroom. I came into the digital photography world and literally started shooting professionally, and it was a month later that Lightroom was released, and so I've just been born and raised on it, and I like how it integrates seamlessly with Photoshop. So one of these decades, when I have a spare moment, maybe I'll play around with Capture One some more. When I worked with Sony, when I was a Sony artisan, they tried to get all the artisans to use Capture One, and they offered me sponsorship opportunities and everything else. And they're great people. I'm not making fun of anybody at Capture One, but even then, I just couldn't do it, and so I didn't. So regardless of any affiliations, it just wasn't in the thing for me. It would be real karma if Fuji hired you as a spokesperson. Yeah, never say never, baby. Never, ever say never. A nice, affordable medium format camera from Sony would be awesome with their quick autofocus. Yeah, it would. It really would. And I've been shooting a bunch of different Fujis, and dude, nothing beats a Sony for focus. And I still stand by that. So, like cell phones, they went from more megapixels to bigger sensor. Yep. Fuji color is pretty good. Yes, it is. Hello there. How you doing? Hope all your evening is going. Thank you. I took a portrait in an airplane cockpit using my Olympus EM1, and I still was able to recover the details from the blown out light from the cockpit windows. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I know Olympus, if you guys remember, many years ago, about 2 years ago, I shot Olympus, and I did about 4 or 5 videos with Olympus. And that's a micro four thirds sensor. And yes, you can shoot with it, but there's no disputing the fact in any way, shape, or form that a micro four thirds sensor cannot in any way do the low light sensitivity that the bigger sensors can. It doesn't even touch it. So it goes micro four thirds, crop sensor, full frame, and then medium format. That's how it goes. Am I not? No, I'm not a Sony artisan anymore. No, that artisan program is not what it used to be. Not in any way, shape, or form. Do you still believe that Sony? And by the way, I can't use other cameras. They didn't like it when I was using Canon lenses with Sony cameras. So I mean, I love the freedom that I have. What's up, brother? Miss you, buddy. I miss you too. Artemis, how you doing, my love? Do you still believe that Sony is the best camera in the world? How much did Sony pay you? Sony didn't pay me anything. In fact, Sony should pay their artisans more money. I'm not an artisan, and Sony should be paying their artisans money. I wholeheartedly believe that. One of the main issues that we have in our industry is that camera companies and lighting companies just want people like me and others to, hey, we'll send you this, and in exchange, you'll do a free video for us. Man, they're getting away with robbery. I'm talking grand larceny. They're getting away with these influencers who want to get out there, and so as a result they'll get free gear sent to them, or even loaner gear. You know how offensive that is when someone says, hey, I'll do a review and then you'll send the gear back, and then we'll just let you borrow the gear. I don't even have it. When people give me that pitch, I tell them to go jump off a cliff. And now if people want me to try something, and if I like it, and if I'm going to actually produce content for them, they got to pay. And that's where I learned a lot when I went through that whole commercialization of me and becoming a brand myself. I learned, and I'm getting used by a lot of people. And so I stopped it. I just stopped it. And so, now if somebody, and that's why if I use a piece of gear that I want to create for my own work and I put it in a video, I won't talk about the brand, because that brand does not deserve that recognition. It's very similar, guys. If you watch reality TV or something else and they have laptops or whatever else set up, they'll put tape over the Apple logo, over IBM. Does IBM still make computers? I don't know. But they'll put tape over that stuff because those people aren't paying for that publicity. And you're talking about I mean, you know how insulting it is for a company like Sony, Fuji, name them, whoever it is, for them to have just so much money, and then they're hitting on some guy or gal to do free advertising for them. It's the epitome of usury. It's really awful. Have you shot with the Canon R5 or R6 yet? No, I haven't. That's next on my list. Like I said, if you missed the beginning, I have 5 cameras that I'm using right now. So I'm actually taking off tomorrow. I'm going down to the border. I'm going to be, so it's going to be a double-edged thing. I'm going to go down to the border because we have all this craziness going down in the border here in Southern California and Arizona and Mexico. So I'm planning on going down there and doing reviews of these cameras. But if I see some action, I'm going to film it since I've been doing documentary stuff. So we'll see what happens down there. If I film some coyotes coming over, I'll be able to put it up there. So abandoned theme parks. I've been doing a lot of abandoned stuff, man. I just did that distillery over in Kentucky. It was amazing. Like, have you shoot another camera you think is better from Sony? No. The honest truth is no. I haven't shot another camera that I think is better than Sony. And so, you know, me falling in love with the Sony camera was a very real and organic thing. Since somebody asked earlier, no, I wasn't paid at all to switch. And that's why to this day, I've still continued to shoot Sony because I really believed in that brand. And, you know, I think right now they're just twiddling their thumbs because that big wave, and I've spoken about this in previous live streams, but that big wave of people switching to Sony is over. So, c'est la vie, baby. Long time no see. What's up, Snap Soon? 30-day reviews. Any tips on recording full frame? Just got the Canon R using EF lenses from a Sony 5T, so not used to full frame recording. Just it's recording is recording. Just if you're trying to record video, you know, get some neutral density filters to try to knock down the light if you want to shoot at wide open apertures, but shoot it a 50th of a second if you can. And photographer equals free sales. Exactly. Hope you and the family are well. We're doing great. Thank you. I bought 2 Sony camera based on your recommendations, the Sony a7R2 and a7 III, so they should pay you. Dude, I sold millions of dollars for Sony, and that is not an exaggeration. So lots of great people that work there, but no free lunches. Those are over. And so it's funny when people make a big deal out about it, and people leave camera brands all the time. And people will leave lighting brands all the time. It's a business. That's all that it is. And the sooner you as a creative, so if you're watching this, if you're ever in a scenario where camera brands want to work with you, set your price. Well, then they won't want to work with me. Well, so what? Why should you make free content for them? F them. I had 3 different calls with a lens manufacturer today that you're going to see a video come out on because they want me to do work with them. Now, couple things. I have to really believe in the lens if I'm going to endorse it. And that is the honest to goodness truth. Or the light or the camera. And if I don't believe in those products, then I will not do something for them. But if I do believe in it, and if they actually want me to mention brands and so whatever, they got to pay. They got to pay. And if you guys think about it, it's, again, very similar to Hollywood, very similar to a TV show, movie, whatever. I mean, if you see a Coca-Cola logo in a movie, it was paid to be put there. So, hello, KGB here. Did you have some experience with anamorphic lens? Recently saw a video on this, was very impressed. No, I have not. They should pay for the publicity. Yes, they should. If I was going to shoot a Canon, it would be the R5. And I'm still going to say I love the RF lenses from Canon. They're amazing. Don't get arrested like last time. No promises. Can you recommend a telephoto lens I rent for the Grand Canyon trip? I'm bringing my A7C. I love the A7C. I think it's a great low budget, and I don't mean that in a derogatory manner, but it's a great low cost lens or camera. But for telephoto, I would get the G Master, the 100 to 400 if you really want it. That's what I would get. I hope Nikon catches up with the tech, particularly the autofocus. I hope they do too. I hope they do for everybody's sake. Again, I want us as photographers to win. I really don't care about the brands. The brands can go bite it. I care about us as photographers. Shame on the menu on Sony cameras, not as organized as Canon. And the thing on Sony, man, is they just switched all of the newer bodies, the A7S3, the A1, all of the new bodies have a new menu system now. So now if you're used to shooting Sony, you have to learn it all over again. I'm telling you, it's a pain in the butt. So good luck with that. Mostly doing inside headshots, but wanting to get into more maybe business ads. Yep, absolutely. Wow, never heard it the way you explained it, Jason. The camera companies and the way they get essentially free advertising using photographers, but so true. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. All the camera brands give their ambassadors, we're talking top level ambassadors. If you guys think photographers are getting rich off of being a Sony artisan and a Canon Explorer of Light, a Nikon ambassador, they're getting about $5,000 a gear per year. That's it. That's it. Some, and then they split it into tiers. I was at the top tier. Some of the other tiers, they give $3,500, and then they'll give them 30% off a gear. That's it. That's it. That's it. So that's why you guys got to understand it's even more insulting when people are like, oh, he got paid to switch or she got paid to switch. Forget about me, any of them. Oh, they got this, they got that. Oh my gosh, guys, it's that's not the way it works. You know, bad guys in movies, they won't have Apple phones. That's very true. That's a good point. Any bad guy in a movie or bad girl in a movie has got a Samsung. That's pretty funny. Apple probably pays for that. That's pretty funny. Do you know or watch other photographers on YouTube? I do not. I do not. I know some of them, but I do not follow them. No. And there's one main reason for that. I don't want to be influenced by them. I want my content to be organic and genuine. I don't want to be following somebody, and I don't want to be impacted by what they do. Hello, Jason. Good evening. Hello. What's up, my man? My wife started photography with the A6000 because of you 4 years ago. I've jumped in, and now we're both full time with photography. That's awesome. That's awesome, Bafa Booey. All businesses and try to do that. Even the cheap products I review, they think that the product is good enough as payment while I'm advertising for them. You're right, my man. You're right. It's ridiculous. All these companies from China too, man, they hit you up like crazy. They hit you up like crazy. I was talking to a lady, and I'm not trying to be anything. I'm just being honest with you. Like 90% of the inquiries you get are from China. And so I was talking to a lady last night who's hitting me up on Instagram for a review on some audio gear. And she's like, well, can you do it? We'll send you the product and you can send it back and you make a video for us. And I laughed. I said, no, not a chance. Not a chance I'm going to do that. Well, what if we let you keep the product? Okay, well, that's a starting point. Now, first I have to keep it and I have to like it. And then the other point is, this is how much you have to pay me for a video. Oh, well, we're not doing that. Well, then I'm not even gonna look at your product. Why should I? Why should I help you sell your gear? It's absurd. It's beyond insulting too. And again, I'm gonna say it over and over again, guys. I will never put something on my channel. You will never see me use a product and say I like it unless I truly like it. I don't care if they want to pay me, because to me, you guys, and I mean this, you are more important to me than these other companies. Okay, you want to talk about brass tacks? You want to say, oh, Jason, he's full of crap. He doesn't have a heart of gold. He doesn't care about us. Fine. I do care about you, but if you want to think that, here's the bottom reality. I make hella money off of people coming to my workshops because they believe in what I'm saying versus some dumbass video and somebody paying me to do a video about a product. I don't make money off these people. I don't make money off Sony. I don't make money off Nikon, Canon, or Fuji. I make money teaching photographers. So it's much more important for me to have my relationship with you intact and have that integrity just from a purely financial standpoint. So from that perspective, I will never put something on my channel and endorse it unless I truly believe in it. That's just the truth. Mad respect, and now everything makes sense. It does make sense. And if you guys see me stop working with brands, and everybody always assumes there's some Illuminati clandestine reason. No, they don't want to pay. Bye, Felicia. You got to pay to play. So that's just the way that it works. When you're coming to the Lake of the Ozarks, that would be cool. I want to see if there's bodies and money laundering going on there. That would be super cool. For those who don't understand that inside joke, that's Netflix. Check it out. Very cool series. Wasn't paid to put that out there, but I guess somebody gets a freebie from time to time. How did you get linked up with the camera companies to begin with? That's a great question. You get linked up by being really good at what you do and building a following. If you want to have people pay you for your stuff, you have to be really good at what you do, and you have to have a following, because you have to have people that you can influence. If you can't influence other photographers, then why does a company want to work with you? So, if you're out there watching this and you want to be in a position where camera companies want to work with you, then it's incumbent upon you as an artist to build your following. Followings are currency in this day and age, so build your following would be my most humble recommendation. Jason, I want to upgrade from my Canon T3i and a nifty 50 lens. What is your advice? Well, honestly, I would tell you to shoot Canon mirrorless. I really would. And that's going to be my advice for almost anyone, guys. I mean, when people think that I'm this big Sony guy, or they used to think I'm this big Sony guy, I was a big Sony guy when Sony was the only game in town for mirrorless cameras. They're not. They haven't been for years. So, I know I keep saying it, but Sony was fun during those first 2 or 3 years when everything was moving so fast. And I was a big part of the reason why it moved so fast. And I'm very proud of that. And I love a lot of the people over at Sony. There's no hate or animosity, but that time's over. And so now it's more than the best time for me to be free. And I say that because if whatever you're currently shooting with, Nikon, Canon, Fuji, Sony, the main four, stick with what you know and stick with what, works for you, unless you have a very specific need. If you really, really, really got to have fast action focusing and you want a mirrorless camera, you're not going to find better than a Sony. I love the colors and the lenses and the Canons. I love what Fuji's doing, and Nikon still has some ground to make up, but hopefully for Nikon users, they do. How should I approach female clientele for pinup shoots without coming across as a creepy guy? It's not very difficult. Just put out a casting call, say exactly what you want to do as a photographer, give them an idea of your project. My humble recommendation is to build a web page on your website that lists what your project is, and you can post or put on the web page some inspiration shots. Like, if you see pinup shots from the 50s, 60s, say this is the kind of work that I'm trying to create. If you are legitimate and you show that you're legitimate by acting legitimate, then you'll be treated legitimately. It's that simple. And in my experience with female clientele, female models, whatever it may be, the more upfront you are about what you're trying to accomplish, the better results you're going to get. Women just want to be told exactly what you want to do. And if you can do that, I think you'll be pretty successful. It's like ExxonMobil asking you to buy a tank of gas with your own money to make a video about how good it was from your car, and you'll benefit from what you get on YouTube. Exactly. It's exactly what it is. It's absurd. And at some point in time, see, here's the thing, guys. Photographers are still relatively new to the whole brand ambassador thing. So we're so new to it in our industry, relatively new, that we get excited when a brand even wants to put our name next to something. And so we get all hot and bothered about it, and we don't realize how much we're being used. Other industries, actors, sports, athletes, all the other creative endeavors, they don't do crap for free. So photographers need to wake the hell up. Hey, Jason, I worked for 5 years as a lead editor for a real estate photography company. We started in a garage with 2 guys, made it into a multi-million-dollar business. Now I'm going to start my own company. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm really proud of you. That's amazing. You do it, man. I'm sure you'll be very successful. It's not about the sleeves. It's more about bringing out the beauty of the unsuspecting girls next door. Yeah. Some people could take that wrong in this horrible day and age of cancel culture, but I understand what you mean. You're trying to get that girl next door. I would leave the unsuspecting part out of it. That doesn't sound too good, but I know what you mean. Just to show their potential and boasting their self-esteem, easier for a female photographer to approach clients. I don't know if it's easier to approach. I mean, if anything, if you're worried about a female being uncomfortable with you, then have her bring her girlfriend. And in fact, one of the best things you can do is have her bring one of her girlfriend who also wants to shoot. And then you can shoot 2 models, 3 models. I did that a lot where I would say, hey, you have any girlfriends that want to shoot? And then now you can go out and plan 5 or 6 hours, and you can shoot different people throughout that time period, which is fantastic. especially if one of them isn't, very good as a model, which sometimes will happen. So that's what I would do. Any advice you can give on how to gather a bigger following on social media? Start being very prolific with the output of your content, and teach. You have to teach. People just, and this is something that all of us who are in this have to learn to a certain extent. It can't just be about tell me how fantastic I am as a photographer. You have to give them something to learn. Like right now, I am answering your questions for free, and hopefully it leads you to say, hey, Jason's kind of a cool guy. Maybe I should go to a workshop sometime. That's honestly how it works. I was with you in the early years with the A7 II and the A6000. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate that. You're a big reason Sony is so big, and this is coming from a proud Nikon shooter. Yes, I am a big reason why Sony is so big, and I wish them the best of success, but I'm not going to be doing any work with Sony anytime soon. I've done my part. When will more information be available about the Kentucky Photography Convention you're considering going? Yeah, we're going to be doing a convention in Kentucky at the latter end of August of this year, my friends. It's going to be absolutely epic. And the details on that will be coming out next week. We wanted to get it released by tonight, but we just want to make sure it's all ready to go before we do so. But no, it'll be coming out soon, and it's going to be awesome. I'd love to see you there, Adam. Hey, Jason, I'm currently using the A7R II and I want to upgrade. Any suggestions? I still think the bang for the buck, the A7R III is the best camera around. I really do. I still believe it's the best camera around, bang for the buck. So I'd get the R3. Every camera company gets its 15 minutes of fame. Nikon was killing the end film years. Canon blew away the 35 video. Sony with mirrorless. Now Fuji is owning color game. The torch just passes around. There's a lot of truth to that. There really is a lot of truth to that. And that's another reason why I can't say this enough, guys. And I hope you listen. The brands don't care about you. They don't. They could care less about you. All you are is a walking dollar sign. So the sooner you meet any of us, let go of brand wars and like Chevy versus Ford, Nikon versus Canon. Whenever I hear people argue about brands, I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, if you only knew how they don't give two craps about you. They laugh about how we have camera wars when we're dying on the battlefield of social media to stick up for a brand that doesn't care about us at all. So stop caring about the brands, which is why, hey, I want to shoot Fuji right now. I'm going to go shoot Fuji. Who cares about Sony? Who cares about whatever else? Just go do whatever you want, because it's about you and your creation. Don't worry about the brands, because they certainly as hell do not worry about you. Hey, Jason from Turkey Creek, Florida. What's up, Ray Vaughn? Turkey Creek, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That was that black and white shoot with that man. Next time I'm back there, Ray Vaughn, you got to come out, baby. It's great that Canon and Nikon stepped up to Sony. Now we actually have choices. Nikon's still working on it, but they're coming, and I'm grateful for that. How important is it to learn to use video in a portfolio? I think it depends on what your goals are. I mean, I didn't have any aspirations to do video work until I realized that I needed to use videography or cinematography to be able to to be able to promote my business and to be able to, tell stories. And so for me, I think if you are really looking at doing this if you're looking at the long game of the photography business, I think getting into video is a very powerful thing for you to do. I really do. Photographer union. I think photographers, it sounds like a good idea in some way, shape, or form, but I don't think photographers, we're so disconnected. And it's such a sharky game. And influencers, and I know so many influencers who are just backstabbing pricks. And so many people you meet and they shake your hands and they talk about, we're going to do this together and we're going to do that together. And then they stab you in the back. So that's why I've stopped doing collaborations with other YouTubers and stuff, because they're bastards. Now, is that everybody? No, of course it's not everybody. But when you've met a few of them, you're just like, I see you. I see you for who you are. You're a complete fraud. And if you guys know people, and I do something different than the vast majority of other YouTubers, and there's people on this broadcast right here who will attest to the fact. I let people come to my shoots. I let people, random volunteers who I haven't vetted, I've never met, I let them come to my shoots and assist. So you can see me work, and you can see my personality, and you can see what I do, and you can see that what I do on YouTube and what I do here is the way I am in real life. It's about straight shooting and no BS. And so yeah, I wish more people were more genuine. It would certainly make for a better world. Hey, Jason, how do you make recommendations to another photographer without asking them for a critique? Without them asking for a critique. Honestly, if they're not asking for a critique, then I wouldn't even waste your time, to be honest with you, because if they don't want to critique and they don't want to improve, why should you put yourself in a position to piss them off? I just wouldn't even worry about it. Hi, Jason. What lenses should I start with for landscape, portrait, and telephoto? Ooh, well, a 16-35, a 50, an 85, and a 70-200 in respective order. Giveaways help too. Yes, they do. People love giveaways. You're right about that. That's something I don't do enough of. Excellent advice on bringing a friend to pinup shoots. Much appreciated. Yes, much, much better. Jason's workshops are freaking awesome. I'm so much fun, and you learn more than you think or you thought you would. Thank you. Ron Kokas. Hi, Jason. Hi, Ron. Yeah, of course, never want to be alone with anyone, models or whatever. It leaves any of he or she did this out of the equation. Yeah, it's a crazy world, my friends. I've lived through the craziness, and now I'm watching it happen to people all over the world. And so, yeah, just keep yourself out of Crazyville. They all going out for steaks with each other and playing golf anyways. Exactly. Santa Maria de Guadalupe. Always get the gear that works for you. That's right, baby boy. That's my porn stash, Rick. I have the Explorer 600 and was thinking about getting the EOS. Is it worth getting them also? Yes, it is. And by the way, I've said this countless times. Don't buy Godox. It sucks. Get Flashpoint. I know you're going to say it. Flashpoint and Godox are the same. That's true. But the Godox sucks. It overheats. And when I talk about my gear, I was in Kentucky with Jim at that distillery using his Godox, and it started overheating. And it was like it was like 52 degrees out there. It was cold, relatively speaking, Fahrenheit. And stupid thing, the fan turns on. That thing sucks. The Flashpoint systems, those Explorers, those are tanks. But the Godox system, the 80, the Pros and all that, sucks. But yes, I think the EOS is absolutely worth it. What's your feeling on PPA? PPA is all right. It's okay. I've done some work with PPA, and there's some really good people there, but PPA is definitely the most put together organization for photographers in the United States. That's for sure. Hey, what's up, John? What's up, my boy? I love you, my man. You didn't vet me, and look how that turned out. Yeah, see, John's been on shoots. Rick's been on shoots. Scott, how many? What's up, Scott? How many volunteers have you tried to kill? Just one, Scott. Just you. I had Scott go behind a stage in an abandoned theater in Gary, Indiana, and he fell through the floor. He's screaming. I'll never forget it. One of the best days of my life. But I went and saved his ass. I'm not sure she knows she should improve, sadly. Well, then don't worry about it. It's not your job to tell her. If somebody doesn't want to improve, then that's on them. Baba Booey says, are you coming to the Houston area in the near future? I will be. Yes, Texas is free. Florida's free. I'm going to be hitting up the states that are free. Never give your opinion unless asked for, and even then watch what you say. Yeah, it's absolutely true because, you know, the worst thing, the thing that I really hate, and if you guys are ever out to dinner with me, this is a little heads up. I hate being at dinner with people and then they do this. Hey, look at my photo. Hey, look at my photo. Hey, look at my photo. Do you know what kind of a position that puts me in? Somebody says, hey, look at my photo. I'm trying to eat. Normally it's when we've been out shooting and I'm tired and my brain's been working all day. And then they're saying, hey, look at my photo. Look at my photo. And what am I going to say? If I give them a real critique on the ribbon, just say, actually, you know, your composition's kind of off. You know, your highlights are overexposed. Your shadows are too dark. You didn't use enough diffusion on the face. Look at the light patterns that are coming down. You could have used rim light. You could have used this. You could have that. If I go, that is going to start a 40-minute freaking conversation that I don't want to have. I want to freaking eat. So when we're looking at pictures, when somebody does this, guys, Do you know what I say? Oh, that's nice. Repeat after me. When people show you a picture, oh, that's nice. I have a Flashpoint until just now. I thought they were the same. No, they are in essence made all in China. Godox, Wistro, Flashpoint, but Flashpoint is better, especially the old ones. The Explorer 600. Those things are like the Sherman tanks from or the Panzer tanks the Germans were running around with during World War II. But no, but that definitely stick away from the Godox Pro stuff. They try to overheat. Excuse me, I read a comment. They try to compete, I should say, with Pro Photo, and they can't. LED that overheats? No. LEDs, at least Rotolights, do not overheat. That's why I love them. KEH has been my friend with this new camera. Yeah, KEH is great. I love KEH with for used gear. They're really great. Didn't Ricks get car ripped off like the rims and what? Didn't Ricks get this car ripped off? I don't know about that. Quick story. Today I put my Godox in a new jacket pocket. Thought I shut it off. Popped the flash. The smell. Oh, the smell. Not sure what material it's made out of. Who knows? I don't know what it's made out of. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. I had a great time with Jason in Atlanta as a volunteer. Thank you, EJ. I appreciate that, brother. I stuck with it and helped with the shoot the next 2 days. Yeah, you did, Scott. You limped around and cried like a baby, and here it is 5 years later. You're still bitching about it, but you know what? I still love you, Scott. Reminds me of people rapping to me in a club when I was producing. That's actually pretty funny. I could imagine that. I could imagine it would be similar. You're like a producer, and people are like come up to your club and start rapping. You're like, dude, shut up. Why use a Godox and not an EOS? Well, you would use a Godox when the EOS doesn't produce enough light, which is like in the middle of the daytime, outdoors with no diffusion. That's when you would use a Godox. Wiley Gillespie is awesome. You come back and I'll be there. Absolutely. He is awesome. I recently bought some A62s, which are Godox, and they do not overheat quick. That's great. That's great, and I'm glad that you did. But I was mostly speaking about the monolights. I will say, however, that the Godox 8200 Pros do overheat, as does the 8400 Pro. And when people are going to say, "Well, Jason, Jason, you're just making that up because you don't like Godox." No, I love Flashpoint, but my Flashpoint never overheats. I love it. Whose car got burglarized when you were up here? Where? In New York? That was mine. I got my car broken into by Yankee Stadium. They busted into the Suburban that I rented. That costed me a pretty penny. I got to go, but just want to say you're looking great, Jason. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Today is day 100 of 2,000 or more steps per day. Day 100. So thank you. Your car and rims are still there. That's great. Jason, where are you from? I asked because Kentucky shoot sounds like a good time actually moving to Nashville, Tennessee this summer. I am from California, born and raised. I was born at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Hollywood, California, where a lot of the movie stars have their babies. My parents were not movie stars, but I was born at that hospital. I can never understand why my parents had me there. I mean, I guess it's an honor, but I don't understand how I got there. That's pretty crazy. But at any rate, this is where I was born and raised, and I lived for a couple years in Korea, and now I've lived the remainder of my life up to this point here in California, but obviously I travel everywhere. Jason, on my A9 Sony, what is the best setting on the creative style, contrast, saturation, and sharpness? I don't use any of those. Those are presets that only apply if you are a JPEG shooter. If you are a RAW shooter, those do you absolutely no good unless you shoot RAW plus JPEG. But again, those only do you any benefit if you are a JPEG shooter. They will have no effect on your RAW files. And if anything, they will give you a misrepresentation of what your editing file will look like, because they will have none of those characteristics in camera. So definitely don't use those unless you're purely a JPEG shooter who does not really want to edit your files. Anova then. Also, that was the night I was your assistant and you filmed the Whisper the Clown video. Someone's car was burglarized, rims and all. I know what you're talking about now. I forget that guy's name, but he parked his car at the hotel and they ripped all of his rims off his car. I forget his name, but I know what you're talking about now. That's pretty funny. We have beautiful moss here, Oregon, Pacific Northwest. Yes, I love the Pacific Northwest. It's beautiful. Keep on trucking. Thank you. Off -1, -1, and sharpness +2. Hi, I really still kind of like Canon for the colors. Which Canon mirrorless Canon can you recommend me to get? I would get the R5. I really would. An over a Godox? Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with the Flashpoint. We use 2 Explore 600 all the time in Texas Heat, and they do the job. Yep, good. They are good stuff. Have you ever experimented with settings just to see what you get? Good, bad, different? Well, I experiment all the time. That's the nature of my whole life, is curiosity and experimentation, and that's what I've been doing a lot of. So, no, definitely my little love child. Scott is just such an interesting person. You know, Scott, the next time I'm in St. Louis, I'm going to drive around with you into all the bad neighborhoods. I'm going to tie you to the front of the truck and see if you get accosted. Thanks for the heads up on the Sony A7R3. Was looking at the 4. Yeah, just go to the 3. The 4 you don't need. You really don't. Did you announce the Titan contest winner? May have missed it, but haven't noticed an announcement yet. That's a great question. I have not announced the winner, and I will be doing so very shortly. Thank you for the heads up. Hello, Jason. Just tuned in. It's 3:00 in the morning here. Always very lucky to catch a live video with you. Well, thank you, Thesplin. I appreciate you being here, especially so late in the evening. Are you in the UK? But thank you for being here. Your beautiful models. What is their going rates per hour to rent for shoots? Typically the models that I utilize, they'll either do a TF because they want my images. If they don't want to do TF and they want pay, which I leave it up to them, then typically it'll range between $30 to $50 per hour is the going rate. The A60 Bio with the lithium battery is great. I'm glad you like it. You have the Flashpoint, Brad? Awesome. Bro, always a pleasure seeing you. Take care, and I hope to catch you live soon. God bless. Thank you, SnapSoon. I appreciate you being here. I've moved my entire workflow to a new Mac M1. Couldn't be happier. The speed is crazy, even though it's using Rosetta 2. I can't wait till the new iMacs in April. That's awesome, man. I am not using the new Macs. I've been disappointed by Apple because they keep removing the things that we use, like USB ports and memory card slots and things of that nature, and then the dongles break and blah, blah, blah. But hey, I'm glad it works for you, man. I really am. Find the right computer that works for you. I love your photography tips. Thank you. I appreciate that. Same thing with the A9 and version 6.0 firmware. You don't need the A9 II. No, the A9 II was rushed out for the Olympics, which didn't happen because of COVID. And then, well, now they've come out with the A1, which completely makes the A9 and the A9 II meaningless. So Sony reminds me of a company that Sony is a company right now that they don't exactly know what to do with themselves. That would be my best guess. They really don't know what to do with themselves because they had all this popularity and everything going, and now they're like trying to get people excited about stuff, but they really satiated the market. The market is kind of full. Everyone kind of ate their fill of Sony. And so the biggest problem that these camera companies have, especially Sony and Fuji right now, is they cannot fill orders. And they keep announcing new lenses and new cameras, but if you can't fill the orders, people get pissed. And so their biggest problem is fulfillment right now. And if you guys missed it, another big ramification of COVID has been microprocessors are very hard to come by. It's even shutting down the manufacturing of cars, of automobiles, and everything else that goes along with it, because the demand, they anticipated demand to shrink by such a precipitous amount. And so as a result, you see a production on so many different things right now being shut down, and the domino effects from this whole COVID economy, I don't think we've really even seen the full effects of it yet. You're British, but you live in Germany. Awesome. Well, thanks for being awake with me over in Europe. I appreciate it. Sony should listen to their users. Every camera company should listen to their users. And unfortunately, most of them do not. I own a Sony A6000 and I've recently got my sister-in-law to get one also. She's loving the camera. That's awesome. That's fantastic. You just purchased the EOS and you're loving it. It's a fantastic light. It really is. You still use the A9 and getting great results. I found the gear that works for me. That's awesome. Tommy Wenzel says, "Hey Jason, love everything you do. I'm in the market for a good computer for editing. Any advice?" Thank you, Tommy, for being here. Advice on computers. I mean, are you a Mac or a PC guy? Right now, I'm streaming to you on a PC. I have a dual monitor setup. I'm on a gaming computer. I can't remember the name of this one, but that's what I use for my home setup here. But my laptop is a MacBook Pro. Yeah, and silver and demand is high. Yep. Can I say that you use the word Sony too much in your videos? That's funny. Is this a Sony channel? By the way, I like your stuff, but Sony is not fun shooting like a Canon or Nikon. Thank you. You must have missed the beginning of this live stream. But I appreciate you being here nonetheless. But as I said at the beginning of the live stream, I'm tried any of the new Sony G lenses. Oop, I used the Sony word. The 24, 40, and 50. Nope, you can't get them. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You can't get these lenses. You can't. Grab the A6000. They don't make it anymore. That's true. My brother-in-law works for GM Corporate. They had to shut down a full week due to chip shortages. Exactly. Expect more wait time till 2023. Price is going to rise as the U.S. dollar gets inflated. You are 100% correct, Jiffer. The M1 is excellent for editing, 50 megapixels, Jason, stupid fast, and even the Mac Mini, like stupid fast, Jason. Faster than the $15,000 Max last year, stays cold and quiet. Yeah, I know. I am interested in the Mac Mini. That would be an interesting choice. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Hello from Melbourne, Australia. Hello, Miss Claire. Thanks for being here. Oswald just bought the EOS, but forgot to buy the LM Chrome trigger. Get it. I think you can still get it half off through my codes. What is your opinion of the Tamron 28-200? I think it's a great lens. I really do. I really do. And you know, I'm really a firm believer that the Tamron lenses is a beautiful, low cost option for so many photographers out there, and they really produce really solid results. Really, they do. Sony has the best autofocusing system. Yes, they do. Canon lenses, you have to get a mortgage to buy one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I mean, the honest truth is any great lenses are expensive. I mean, the G Master lenses are expensive. Canon lenses are expensive. Nikon, they're all relatively the same price, guys. If it has the same specs, a 70-200 by either of the Sony, Nikon, Canon, they're pretty much the same price. The 2.8 lenses, they're around $2,500. I mean, and the 18 millimeter, or excuse me, 85 millimeter, you know, if you compare Nikon, Canon to Sony, yeah, I mean, they're going to, you know, Sony, I think their G Master is maybe $200 cheaper than the Canon, but the Canon will go at 1.2. So, I mean, it's a superior product just because it's a wider aperture. So it just depends on what you want to do. But I mean, they're all relatively priced at the high end. The high end lenses cost about the same. That's just the truth. What's your most used metering mode? I just use the one that's default. Yep, multi. Joining late like always. Greetings. Any word on the 35 G Master? Is that thing still coming out? Thanks for being on here, but yeah, it's just like anything else. The reason why there's such a shortage, you can't get gear right now, guys. It's really very, very difficult to get gear. I've tried to get my hands on the Fuji GFX 100S. Do you know there's only 2 in the entire United States? Just listen to that. There are 2 Fuji GFX 100Ss in the entire United States, and that's coming straight from Fuji's mouth. So I'm telling you that it's very difficult to get your hands on gear right now. It's not a normal situation. It's pretty tough. Tamron, okay. Yep, the 1770 is pretty awesome lens. Wait for the Mac Mini Pro. They're going to introduce eGPU connection in that one super fast unofficial rumor at this point. Very cool. Thesplin, Jason, whenever you do a shoot, say for a wedding, what is the common way people want you to give them the photos? Photo book, CD stick, or even a giant printout? Nope. I've been giving my clients images through digital download for the last decade. I was way ahead of the curve on that. I don't give any of that other stuff. Go Going beyond a decade, I was giving my clients DVDs or CDs because I've been shooting professionally for 14 years now. In fact, today's probably close to my anniversary date for 14 years in the industry. But no, I don't do that, because then you get a phone call, oh, I lost my discs, or it's scratched, or it's, okay, here's the download it, and then you're done. That works great. I have the Tamron 2.8, 28 to 75, worth the money. Yep, it's a very, very good lens. I just got the Tamron 70 to 200 G2. Seems great so far. Yep. Hello from Virginia. What's up, Mo? You have to pay for the best, just like your workshop. Yes, that's very true. Thank you, Scott. What a very kind thing for you to say. I love you, Scott. Maybe I won't put you on the front of the car and see if you get murdered. Dropbox the photos? No, that's ghetto. Do not Dropbox people photos if you're a professional photographer. It doesn't get much more ghetto than that. Don't use WeTransfer. Don't use Dropbox. You know, I use a system called Pass. I am not sponsored by Pass. I could be, but I don't want to be. You guys don't understand. I don't want a lot of the conditions that come along with being sponsored. Once you've been sponsored, there are some great sponsorships, and there are the vast majority are not. And so there's lots of folks that want to sponsor, but it's just not worth it. And for those who have followed since the beginning of this live stream, I'm not going to rehash all of that, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. Then you're stuck. And you're stuck for a very low price. It's not worth it. At any rate, I use a system called Pass, and you guys can check that out at pass.us. But, you know, that works out really well for me, and it has a really nice layout. But anything that you choose, and Pass isn't the only one, any layout you choose for sending clients and showing them their images, so on and so forth, make sure it's very aesthetically pleasing. Dropbox, WeTransfer, they suck. That's for businesses, not for professional photographers. I don't see you using your Westcott Scrim much. You don't like it? No, I like it. It's just there's so much gear. It's just, the honest truth is, there's so much gear in so little time, and it's just, I keep trying to show different things in my videos. So, and I've been doing a lot of traveling during COVID, which makes it more difficult. But if I can, I certainly will. Jason, sorry I hit the send button before I finished. I meant, although Sony is up there, it still isn't as fun to shoot with a Canon. Doesn't feel like a camera in the same way. Lots of love. Well, I don't think that. I love you back, Yarder, but I don't think the camera determines how fun a shoot is for me. For me, the fun of a shoot is related to the subject matter and the end product that I'm creating. So that's where my fun quotient comes into play. So anything that helps me create something beautiful, that product I fall in love with. And that's what some folks misunderstand in some of my videos, is when I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this, or I love this camera. I'm not in love with the camera because of the name on the front. I'm in love with that camera because of what it helps me to create. So I don't care what brand it is, as long as it helps me to create something that's in my head and I can output it into my camera. I love it. I really do. Should I get the Sigma 2470-2.8 or the new Sigma 2870-2.8 for my Sony a7 III? I haven't played with those lenses, so I can't give you a great recommendation, is the honest truth. I haven't played with those lenses. I do love my Sigma 20mm 1.4 art lens, but I haven't played with those, so I can't give you a great recommendation. I'm sorry, Bobby. Jason, I've been using Pass since you told me, and I love it. Yeah, it's awesome. It really is. Ballroom photographer, I finally used a Sony 135 G Master, and I was blown away by the image quality. What other lenses would you put in the same level as a 135? I don't care about the company. Oh, I put a lot of them. The 135 is a great lens. Any of the Sony G Master lenses are fantastic. Any of the Canon RF lenses are ridiculous. I just shot the Fuji 56mm 1.2 and the Fuji the XF 5612 and the XF what is it, a 16 to 28? Both of those are fantastic. There's a lot of great lenses out there. You love your illuminator? It's a fantastic modifier. I use Pixieset and it works great for client downloads. That's awesome. Come to a workshop. You will have a ton of fun. Thank you. And whether you have me as your assistant, absolutely. Scott plus Jason, it's a party. That's true. Jason, have you ever tried to do a shoot with the pure vintage lenses? Yes, I have. I used the M42 lenses. I still have so many freaking videos to put out. Like I shot Cuba 3 years ago, and it's called the Petzval Project, and that's a Russian lens. It's a Petzval, and I shot the entire 10 days I was in Cuba with the Petzval lens, which is a completely manual lens, and it fell apart by the end of the project. But gosh, there's still so many. I got to stop creating so I can start outputting more videos, is the honest truth. So many. I went to the project where you could only use vintage lenses, no post editing, had to learn to shoot with the lens not attached. Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. I got rid of my DSLR D750 Nikon and went to mirrorless A9. So is the Nikon mirrorless good quality cameras. The Nikon mirrorless are good quality cameras, but they are not on par with Sony. Sony still has the best mirrorless camera bodies. And again, people are going to get angry when I say that, but that is related to the autofocus performance and the low light sensitivity, and Sony's are the best at that. Now, when it comes to other things, if you are a shooter and you like more analog options and you don't want to get into the menu, the great thing about Fuji cameras, for example, is that all of the analog options are available. So you don't have to go into a menu system to change your ISO, your shutter, your aperture, any of those things. And so some people really love it. I had to do a lot more selective focusing when I used the Fuji system recently. And but you guys are going to see me using either medium format Fuji or some real cheap Fujis, because I want to show you guys what you can create with both. It'll be fun. Hey, Jason. What's up, Jason? Thanks for all the great info. Is there a company you use to make prints, or do you print your own? I do not print my own. I do not have remotely the time available to me to be able to do so. But who do I print with? White House Custom Color, Bay Photo, some of the usual suspects. And that's another thing is I'm going to be putting, you guys are going to be able to start buying prints if you would like to do so. I'm going to start making the images that I shoot on my shoots. I'm going to make those available for purchase. Because why not? People ask to buy them quite frequently. And so that's the project that I'm working on right now, is to get a lot of those images uploaded. So when you guys watch a video, it's, hey, if you want to buy a print from this, here's a link. And so hopefully you guys will like that, but we'll go from there. Backlogged on videos. Oh my gosh. Not like you have no idea. Nikon mirrorless is great if you don't need quick, reliable autofocus. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And that's, again, outside of that, that's my main determining factor for a camera is autofocus. So that's why I still give the nod to Sony in that. Very good answer, and I love it, but it's 2 a.m. here in the North Atlantic, and I'm so sleepy. Good night, my man. Good night from Faroe Island. Have a good night, brother. Please post all of your Cuba videos first. The wife is from Cuba, and she misses it. Oh, my gosh. I know. I have amazing Cuba videos. I have so many videos. You guys, I'm not exaggerating. It would floor you if you knew how many videos I have to do. It's weird I'm listening to you while I read a Lindsay Adler book on posing. Is it weird? Yes, it is weird. You should focus on one or the other, John. That's awesome. Thanks. Still waiting for the video from my time in Cuba. Yeah, I should post that video when you and I went swimming in an underground cave. That was pretty cool, Scott. That was fun. I need a video editor. Yeah, I know. Have you ever get into a photography rut, and what did you do to get more creative? That's a great question. I think any photographer who has shot long enough will find themselves in a rut. And I think the best thing to do is go shoot something you've never done before. Let it spark your interest. Let it get your creative juices flowing. It's like when Michael Jordan left photography to go play baseball. It made no sense, but he just needed a break. It was either that or he was in trouble with his gambling debts, but one or the other. He left basketball and then came back and did some more damage in the NBA. So I think that's the best thing to do is go shoot something you haven't done before. So, many years ago, I did a lot of pinup photography, and I did that because all I was doing was weddings at the time, and I was getting burned out on weddings. So doing the pinups really changed my work day. It changed, what I was doing, and it brought a lot of excitement. And then I was able to bring some of what I learned into wedding photography into pinups. And then really cool is I was able to bring some of what I was doing with pinups into wedding photography, and it made both better. Have you ever, what's the best Sony for sports or action? The Sony A1. Canon R6 has really good autofocus. That's great. I bet it's not as good as a Sony, but if you don't need it to be lightning fast, then if it works for you, then I'm not trying to be funny or glib about it. If it really works for you, then go for it. Just wish you had kept your clothes on. Oh my gosh, guys. Scott is this old decrepit man who's swimming through a cave. And then after we get that, before we got into this cave, and this is a true story, this is in Cuba. By the way, once Biden opens up Cuba, which he will, because I'm sure he's friends with Fidel Castro and his family. I know Fidel's dead, but the Castro family still runs the joint. But once Cuba opens back up, I want to go back to Cuba. That'd be fun. But I digress. Scott fell down. Then he cries, and I kissed his boo-boo. Then we went swimming, and this is true, in an underground cave. That was awesome. And then we left, and Scott wanted to prove to everyone how physically fit he was. These are my adventures. They're fun. Scott decides to run, and he places a bet with me to run to this house or whatever was a little resting spot. And I said, really, Scott, you're going to run the whole way? He's like, yeah, I'll run the whole way. Now, mind you, Scott's like 90 years old. And I'm like, Scott, you shouldn't do this. You're going to die of a heart attack. And he's like, I can do it. And I'm like, okay, go for it. And he takes off and runs. And it took him about 5 steps before his knee gave out. Then his ankle gave out. It was like watching a train wreck or a car wreck in NASCAR, 10-car pileup. It was actually hilarious. And so, anyways, I got Scott Porter stories for days. My MJ left photography for baseball. Exactly. That was a good one. Yes, I know it was an accident. How do we volunteer to work for your shoots? If I am going to be in your area, just send me a message. The best way to do that is to follow my social media. A lot of times I'll post, which I did recently for Kentucky. I'll post about it and say, hey, I'm looking for volunteers. And if I happen to be in your area, or if you want to travel to where I'm going to be, you can do that. You can do that. But I don't take requests ahead of time because I can't possibly keep up with them. Like when I just posted it for Kentucky, I had like 30 people volunteer. And out of that, I took the first 3 or 4 that submitted. So in other words, sometimes people submit and they say, hey, if you're ever in the Florida area, I just to be honest with you, I can't manage that. It's logistically impossible. So so I'm reading Scott's comments, but at any rate, fun stuff. And if you want to volunteer, I'd love to have you. I would. It's fun stuff. I really do. As you can tell by the guys I'm teasing on here and they're teasing me back, I really do enjoy photography, and photographers, and I think that's something that separates me from a lot of other YouTubers. I don't think they really love photography to the extent that I do, and I know a lot of them, and I can tell you that is the case. And they get into it just because it helps make them famous. I love photography, and I love messing around with photographers. It's a lot of fun. Terry says, thank you, Jason from Australia. Well, thank you back. Thanks for being here. Hope you come to Fort Worth, Dallas area soon. I would love to, Scott. That'd be great. Last time I was, well, not last time, but a long time ago when I was there, we had my bag run over. That was interesting. Thanks for the information. Sir, you are awesome. I continually watch for your newest vids. Good night from Southeastern U.S. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Or like watching Biden. You have stories. I have pictures. Yes, come to Germany. I'd happily help you. Thank you. You need someone to handle your PR? Sure, you can handle it for me. I'm a one-man wrecking crew, baby boy. Are those pictures for sale? According to Tony and Chelsea, Canon is as fast as Sony, if not faster in AF and IAF, where Sony focuses on the lashes while Canon focuses on the iris. Yeah, I thought you were going to bed, Yarder. Honestly, I'm watching my comments here on the reference that you made there, but I would not agree with that assessment. But I honestly think to a certain extent, unless you are trying to go blazingly fast, the gap between Sony mirrorless and Canon and Nikon used to be this. And now the gap between Sony and Canon is about this. I think it's In other words, I think we're getting to a point where we're getting very nitpicky, just like back in the day where, you can nitpick between an Icon and a Canon DSLR. It's really a matter of preference at that point. I think that's where we're pretty much at in the mirrorless world. Standing in the middle of New York City street at night traffic all over, quick, the light is red, take the picture. That's true. All you have to do is the Pendleton. Shake that booty, baby. That's right, Danny. That's right, baby boy. I'll be in Daytona in a couple weeks. Where will you be? Not in Daytona. Not if you're there. You safely took the picture. Yep, we did. We had a great time. How does Sony glass compare to Canon glass for mirrorless? Sony glass is phenomenal for mirrorless cameras. Canon glass is phenomenal. Sony has a better built out lineup because they've been around longer in the mirrorless game, but Canon's glass is ridiculous. And I've said this many times. I apologize for being redundant, but the Canon 28-70 lens, f2 lens, is just wicked. It's so good. I love that lens. Everyone has an opinion, but they are, for the most part, all very fast compared to just a few years ago. Very true. What is the best camera bag for all of your gear for traveling? I still say the best, and they're expensive, but the best is Think Tank. I do love Think Tank. And I've had their they have some weird ass names though. Whoever named their stuff is going to get in trouble with some sexual harassment at some point, but their backpack's called the Streetwalker Hard Drive. That's an interesting name for a backpack, but that's the backpack, and I really like it. So it's very it's very fun. Okay, after an awesome stream as always, thank you. So I'm gonna have to run myself, guys. We've been on here for almost an hour and a half. It's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys being here. I have some steps to get in. Today is going to be day 100 of 10,000 or more steps per day. And I'm very proud about that. That's a lot of work. That's over 3 months of walking 4.5 to 5 miles per day. And that's been a commitment I've made to myself. And that's independent of weight loss. That's about fitness and about strength and about the ability for me to continue on this. So it's been fantastic. So in regards to the live streams, somebody said I need to catch more of these. We try to do them every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I try to pop on here every Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Live, and I'm grateful to all of you out there. So until next time, keep shooting, never give up on your dreams. Find a work that works for you, my friends, and remember, you only have one chance to get it right. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.